Hello. Hi, Tamera.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. I am really excited about our conversation today. I'm going to introduce the show and then we'll get into our conversation. Is that okay?
Long hair.
All right. So today's topic is Beyond the Stereotype, Black Women, Work, and what real merit looks like. After my conversation with you, I thought it'd be most appropriate.
Here for it.
So the Empress Addi podcast family, you can tell I'm just too excited. Welcome back. Today we're staying on receipts because careers should be decided by work, not by stereotypes. My guest, Tamera Rowls, a coach and advocate for Black women navigating hostile systems and building careers that match their brilliance. We'll talk about what the data really says, how to protect yourself when you need to speak up, and how leaders can fix the broken rung that keeps too many women, especially Black women, off the management ladder. We're here for truth, tools, and transformation. And that's what the Empress Addi podcast is all about, Tamara. So let's begin. Yeah?
Yeah, ready.
Tamara, before I get in, because I love to ask questions, would you like to introduce yourself? Did I leave anything out? You are an educated woman, and I'm sure you have a lot of experiences. Is there anything that you'd like to share with my community?
You did a really good job of introducing me. Thank you. I'm Tamera Rowls. I'm the owner of Tamera Rowls Resources, where I focus on helping small businesses, minority-owned businesses increase their visibility through social media management and also with branding. That's a great passion of mine. I'm an advocate for AI. I have grown to absolutely love it, and I continue to educate myself in how I can continue to outperform with it. Yes, I'm an advocate for Black women who are trying to navigate within toxic workplaces. Unfortunately, I had way many experiences, as most of us have, in those types of environments that cause not only mental stress, but physical stress as well, and have a great impact on how we can become to ourselves. So I'm a champion for all the women.
That's awesome. Now, Tamara, I was thoroughly impressed with you from the first time we spoke. And one of the things that stuck out to me was that you said you want a champion for Black women. You want to amplify voices, and you absolutely categorically, you're against silent suffering. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
I'm keen to understand more because we can definitely trade stories, but I definitely want to hear about some of the lessons you've learned about HR and self-protection on the job.
Absolutely. I've been in the working field for decades there. So I've had quite a bit of experience. My career started in education and ended in corporate as
That's right.
far as
Yeah, you have a master's in education. Is that correct?
education administration. Right. And I ended in corporate and now I work for myself. But yes, I did champion for women to be vocal. But I would like to say that where women cannot be vocal because there's fear of retaliation and there's probably removal of us, I am vocal for them. I will continue to be a voice for women who feel like they cannot speak out. Speaking out will pretty much put it out in jeopardy. And I've been in that position as well. I have spoken out for myself. I have let my concerns be known and that in determination of my position. So I know all too well of how speaking up for yourself can an unexpected flat out side of the road.
Mhm.
I do spend my time talking about possible ways to circumvent them. But yes, I do believe that some way, somehow, we have to let employers know, as in something I wrote not too long ago, we're vetting in love with their vetting. And pick up on these environments that not value us, that want to silence us, that overlook us. when we give ideas and those ideas are not amplified from someone else, we recognize them. And although it may not be spoken upon because of fear of retaliation, it's not that we do not know or feel the effects of that or carry that weight of knowing that this is the type of work environment that we have to go and feel together. I just feel it's important to be vocal about it. Like I said, to let employers know, they think it's also incorporated in their life when they're people. So they're in very uncomfortable situations.
Yeah. So I hear you. Now, I'm curious to learn more about that. When you say you speak for Black women or you amplify their voices because they otherwise are either afraid of retaliation or cannot speak at that time because they're still at that company, what do you do specifically to assist them?
I use my platform. I use my platform, LinkedIn, is for most
Do,
people,
do you call out these employers or you're just amplifying the situation or the issue?
amplify situations, I amplify how political matters in our country affect Black women, the working class, the Black working class altogether. If there is a company that has been named, I will speak upon that. I try not to pinpoint just one particular phrase.
Yeah,
I never want to make it seem like I am just
to
parking,
protect your
and
client,
what,
for sure.
don't work here, don't go here, don't do that. This is a systematic. This is a leadership. This is the issue that our country faces. This is something that is not just based off of one employer. This is something systematic that our country has been facing for many years,
For sure.
since Black people have freely entered the work. So when I make statements, a lot of times those blanket statements pretty much get on the majority of employers that are here now, especially in the corporate world where we're not seeing Black leadership. We are not seeing initiatives that support the advancement of people
Mm.
of color. And we're still seeing the first things though, the first Black set. Those companies where we're still seeing the first, that's who I'm talking about. And unfortunately, this is not a minority issue. These are the majority of races and businesses that are running like this. I don't like to call out a specific name more than like there's things or two or five or 100 that are practicing these unfair practices.
And what do you say to the naysayers or maybe right wing who would say Black women should be happy for their positions and that you're essentially either playing the race card, the gender card, and essentially complaining and that there is no
Well,
problem?
I refuse to believe that race period is not a problem. It has been a problem since we raised we came here with race is. And here I'm willing and we step into a race. Unfortunately, everything that everything that has taken place in this country has included a fight to include us as their representatives. So I don't entertain conversations that say race, right? And that's not what we're in. So playing a race card, winning to be happy. I always come back with statistics, always come back with numbers. Black people make up 13% of the population in the US. And in hardly any area are we represented in 14% of any. And especially when it comes to leaders, especially when it comes to positions of power and authority. We're not even represented at 14%.
Well, yeah. So to your point, because I brought receipts. So the representation pipeline, Tamara, women as a whole, right, hold only 29% of C-suite roles. Women of color, and they include us into the women of color, which means that's Latina, that's Indian, that's anybody who's not
Thank you.
white. We
Thank you.
hold 7%. And that was according to Women in the Workplace 2024.
That means that Black women hold less than that.
Even less than that. Now, the
Even though we
broken
are the
rung,
most
yeah, for every 100 men promoted to manager, only 54. Every 100 men promoted to manager, only 54 Black women are promoted. And to speak to the point of you speaking up for these women, which I absolutely love, I guess I've been championing that for quite a while. If you check out my blog, retaliation is the most common EEOC allegation for the 17th straight year. Fiscal year 2024 saw 88,531 charges, with 47.8% of them including retaliation. So that's why people are afraid, because even of those numbers, not many of them lose the case and lose their jobs. Meanwhile, the pay in the climate context, the gender gap actually widened in the past year. So the women's median earnings are about 81% of men's. It's widening. So where do these stats show up in your client stories? Or what's one lever that immediately improves safety and fairness when you're thinking of Black women?
thing that's true about Black women, because of our education, I believe, even in households where there is, or two adults, we're not talking about a single parent household. We're talking about two working adults within that household. 5% of those households are the Black women, are the breadwinner.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's very important to understand how being at the bottom of the totem pole has a trickle down effect in our
Yes, it does.
55% of households are led by Black women.
Yes.
And this is just a camera statistic that I'll put out. In Black households, Black women determine where the dollar goes. Okay.
My goodness.
So when we look at this huge discrepancy, we are looking at it not just, oh, my paycheck is more. This affects my children, affects my household. This
Yes.
affects what we have access to. This affects whether I can send my kids to college, whether I can send my children to extracurricular activities,
Yeah.
whether I can contribute to my church or my neighborhood.
Yeah.
This is just way bigger than a paycheck, and we just want more money. We are the pillars of our community. So when we're not seeing that income, that fair, and it's not that we're asking for something that we don't earn. We show in marriage and in our work that we are definitely capable and deserving of these salaries. When that doesn't happen, the effect on the Black community is absolutely, it's too much to just accept it as the norm.
Yeah.
So when working with people, when helping businesses grow and trying to get them to understand how important a reputable brand is, not just making sure that the business does well, and you're setting a precedent.
Yeah.
You're creating yet another step in our trust. And the more we continue to show and prove, the less they can say we're not worthy. The less they can say, oh, we cannot do it. We're very grateful. As it ties into my business, that's why branding is so important. That's why the face of a company, the story of a company, what they present, what they stand on,
And
why
that's the
it
level
means so
promise.
much.
That's right.
Yes,
That's
yes. It says that, yes, we can show up. And a lot of times, we're capable of doing what larger companies are doing with less money, less capital, less revenue. We're able to do it now.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, and we don't even have access to the capital that is available to a lot of other groups and a lot of other people. But we make a way, right? Now, what do you say? I had a quick question. And so just extending what we were talking about, what do you say to the naysayers who say we are DEI hires?
First of all, for white women benefited the most from DEI. And that's all I say. And then I keep moving. And one thing I do not do is argue with a race or someone who chooses to devalue who we are. I'm going to have to let you stay there. My view from that point on is understanding that you are not a person that should be in a position of power and authority. Spend very little time trying to convince naysayer to believe something that's already been.
And
Focus has to turn to how do we overcome it?
yeah,
Even though this person is standing in the middle of the road, how do we get around? I don't argue with people who absolutely want to hold on to those, but they're not true. Cannot make you think otherwise. And I cannot make something that's already been proven. This is a personal experience. This is a unit. And I'm not here to fix, here to make people better. My
now, the funny thing about all of that is, okay, we're DE&I hires. Meanwhile, and I'm like, I'm going to bring up some receipts, right? Because very recently, Ketanji Brown was attacked. We've heard of VP Kamala Harris being attacked so many times, and I wanted to share some receipts with you. Is that okay?
absolutely.
All right. Let me share some receipts with you and pull that up. All right. Okay. We're DE&I hires well for Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? Yes, she was the first Black woman on SCOTUS, sworn in June 30th, 2022. She only graduated from Harvard, right? Justice Sonia Sotomayor, first Latina SCOTUS. She was confirmed August 6th, 2009, sworn in August 8th. Michelle Obama, graduate of Princeton and Harvard Law. She had roles at Sidley Austin, City of Chicago, Public Allies. She was a founding ED in Chicago, VP of Community and External Affairs at U Chicago Medical Center. And instead of being labeled overly qualified, she found her degree being in question. What about Toni Morrison, first Black woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize back in 93 for Beloved? These are just a few examples, and we can go on and on. So I question, how do you coach your clients? I know you said you work with small businesses, and it's more to empower them, because if they have their own business, they don't have to show receipts, other than their receipts would be in the way that they brand themselves and the way they show up for that work that they do, what the service they provide. But what tactics are you teaching or are you coaching your clients that you work with?
Authenticity.
Mm,
Not you cannot deny authenticity. One thing that as you were naming these very highly qualified women, these women are highly qualified based off of standards that we did not create. Standards that have always been set. And they've met these standards, they've exceeded these standards, and then they fix it. They say, oh, but you didn't do this. And we have to keep that in mind that I have to continuously not reinvent yourself, but be a forward thinker and be prepared for what may come. You have to be a forward thinker. And say for my business, I have achieved A, B, and C goals. We need to be thinking 3 to 5 years ahead. What else can we achieve? Can we start working on to achieve now? What can we become a first what can we innovate that is going to be of in value? We unfortunately cannot become, as I said,
We cannot.
we cannot become complete. We cannot, because the goalposts will continue to be constricted as much as we want and meet those standards and exceed those standards.
Yeah.
That is still going to be another challenge that's put in front of us. So moving forward with a forward thinking mind can be the best approach.
Right.
Branding, how you present yourself, how you connect with your audience, authenticity of your product and service is very important. But
Very.
you have to think ahead. You have to think ahead. Where are we now and what can we do in the future that's going to keep us ahead of the game? Because unfortunately, we mediocre, normal, average, we're not allowed to be. We're not accepted.
Yeah.
We're undervalued. So we're undervalued when we exceed things. So there is no room to be completely just average. There's no room to just do the norm. We have to always think, how can we take it to the next one?
Now, and I often, here's what my mind is thinking. Okay, yes, we have allies. You have people who are speaking up now, and I see it more and more every day. I'm glad. Good for you. They're out there, they're protesting, and I'm wondering where were they before all of this? It's really hitting the fan right now, Tamara, isn't it? How important do you think it is for us to not just support our communities, but also support one another in our own businesses to fuel circulating the dollars in our communities? Because and I was talking to in another podcast, he was giving, and this was Evans, he's an entrepreneur in North Carolina. He was sharing how the Jews spend money with the Jews, the Latinos spend money with the Latinos, the whites, hey, they're pervasive. However, the Black dollar does not circulate in its community. What do you say to that?
First, that we need to do better. We have to do better. We have to understand the power of our dollar. Now, for example, I just feel like Black people are forgiving. We are very forgiving and we are very loving, and it is just in our nature to
Yeah.
want to do what's best for anyone.
Yeah, we want everybody to come to
Have
the cookout. We just want everybody to have a great time. Yeah.
everybody knows that is us naturally, but we have to realize the power of our dollar.
Mm,
Take Target for example. I believe that Target lost a lot in revenue
yes, they did.
because of the Black female dollar.
Gotcha.
Okay, we know that Black men, we know that white men didn't think. We know that white women had no reason
Mm,
to stop stocking at Target. We
mm.
know that Black men are not big shoppers of Target at all. So
Anyway,
who's Black?
you're
Okay, and put
absolutely
on
right.
and said, we're not doing, we're not supporting. You
Mm-hmm.
reneged on what you said you were going to do,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not going to support it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to understand that could be a great example of how powerful our dollar is.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if we took that dollar and kept it within our community
Mm-hmm.
and help grow they have enough money to do the things that they want to do. They're not going to stop existing because we stepped out and decided to invest in our own community.
You're
But if we
absolutely right.
don't invest in our own community, we are not going to grow.
You're
And if we don't come together and understand that and understand the impact of our dollars, our
yeah,
businesses are not going to flourish.
you're absolutely right. And it
Yeah.
demands, you know what it demands? And because it's the researcher in me, okay? I'm thinking it's high time for us to have another social, social research on not just our promotion rates, our just some measurable outcomes, retaliation prevalence, the wage gaps, the poverty gaps, policies and how they affect us, just some transparent rubrics to show and some slate reviews where we can actually look at the data and see the state of our people. Because, and here's the funny thing, even within the Black people, there are divisions. Because I don't know if you knew this, but I talk about this often. I'm a daughter of Haitian immigrants. And then there's something else that got created in our society, in our communities, called the FBA, Foundational Black Americans, as if to separate them further from us, as if the hegemonic community is going to say, oh, but you're Black Americans. You're better than those folks. Whereas, whereas Black Americans make up, it's grown, it's 14.5%. But that's because of that 14.5%, you have a good 7 to 8%, and I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, that are now Black immigrants. And amongst the immigrants themselves, a high number of that, I had that statistic. I was looking at it just this week, and it was at about 30 or 38%. And it might be slightly higher. Whereas, yeah, so whereas in the Black American community, and when I say Black American, I'm still looking at it as a whole because there is no census that divides, okay, this Tamara is a Black American, Addi is first generation Haitian American. They're just going to, these two Black women are educated and they're of the 38, 42%. You understand? And so in our own community, we need to have a census to see where we are, where we need to go so that we can create actionable plans with measurable outcomes of where we'd like to see ourselves as a people. Because no one's creating that for us. If anything, they're doing everything they can to strip away the very little of sovereignty or liberties that were afforded to us less than 50 years ago. Meanwhile, children are people. And it began long before Lyndon B. Johnson. Black conservatives want to say this started with the separation of the man from the home, and Black women started getting on welfare, and they became welfare queens, and this and that, and this and that, and a third. I'm not saying that does not have an effect, because I was lucky enough to grow up with my mom and dad in a home, working hard, immigrant parents. They were very proud, and they were proud to not even be on public assistance because they said they are lucky to even be here. They don't even want to be a burden to this country. They want to come and contribute to this society. And so they raised us to be hard workers and do the best we can. But the rhetoric that was going around to separate us as a people in general was, oh, these Haitians, these Jamaicans, these Trinidadians, they're taking your jobs.
They're taking your job. Right.
The same way they're telling our fellow Latinos and Latinas, oh, those Latinos done took your jobs. They didn't take my job. Because you will not find me in nobody's field. How about that? I'd rather be a welfare queen. I will not be in anybody's field. I still have PTSD from slavery. You think I'm going to be on anybody's field?
I spoke on that today.
And so they're kicking all these Latinos out talking about, oh, so y'all thought we were going to go back to the fields. Really? Call your mama. Call your mama, call your auntie,
I think we have worked.
Call your sister, brother, uncle. That's the same thing. Yeah. Call that
I
uncle.
think we have worked very hard not to be in those positions, and that's what they don't want.
This is what it is. Despite the odds, we've overcome. And we're not going back. And that's the point. And we make no apologies. And no, hell no. Hell no.
And I really feel there are more white people than people of color here. Why are they not working their own farm?
They could go work their farms.
They can work their farm.
Yeah.
We were brought here.
No. Yeah. We were brought here.
We were brought here to do that manual labor. We have risen above that.
Yeah.
We work very hard to rise above that, to be self-sufficient. So to say that we are the ones that should now be working these manual labor and farming jobs. It is a slap in the face. And it's dismissive of the progress that we have put in
It's
the
just
work.
disrespectful. It's disrespectful. Why? It's such a slap in the face. It's so visceral and they're vitriol. And it's just, you have no conscience. Because like I always try to look at things from so many different angles. Let's say, will you take this walk with me? Let's say we were the hegemonic community. We were the evil slave, whatever, trappers and whatever. And we were the conquerors. And no Black country has done that in history. We are such a wonderfully loving, peaceful people. Yeah, we had some rowing factions, but we're not here trying to overtake anybody and change their language, change their name, and take away their gods and all that. Listen, do you? But can you imagine if we were the ones who founded this country, went to Europe, got all these people to be our slaves, and after that, we finally let them be free, and then 100 years later, let them actually matriculate into society? And then they're finally beginning to raise up from the ashes. And then we turn around and we're upset again. They're not upset with us. They just want to move on. But we're like, you guys are too comfortable. You're too happy. And you think you run everything. Meanwhile, we enjoy all the benefits of their culture, their language, their swag, their culture, their speech, their fashion, their music, their food,
Their way of living,
their
everything.
way of living. And then we still hate them, but we're enjoying all the benefits of their culture. Then we turn
And
around
their work.
and then we turn around and say, you guys are nothing but killers and welfare queens. As if we didn't create
We're
that
not
environment.
even the largest recipient.
I cannot imagine being able to stand with you, Tamera, if you had that ideology for people that our ancestors suppressed, oppressed, killed. I cannot imagine the audacity, the
And
caucasity.
that's what we look at. Unfortunately, this issue, this situation that I know we said we're not going to give him much credit, but the death of this particular person has brought so much light to the mentality.
Can you imagine? The governor was
Like,
praying, Tamara, the governor was not praying to catch the killer. The governor was praying that it was a person of color or an immigrant. Meanwhile, they blamed the left. I don't, to the left. I don't want that to have any real estate in my mind.
yeah. So I will say the reality for me, I'm a parent of two children. I'm an HBCU grad. And for me, the rage that came over me when I realized they immediately targeted our children on campuses where they are supposed to be safe and protected. I I can't accept that.
Did
I
you
can't accept that because we thought we had something to do with someone we didn't even know that it was okay to attack our children.
Yeah. Did
You don't come for anyone's kids. You don't come for someone's kids. Even if you thought it was us, come for us. But this ain't for our most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And to this day, I have not heard that was wrong.
Yeah.
We jumped the gun.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
We should have let the kids alone. I haven't heard any of that. And because I haven't heard any of that, because I am a mother,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, my children come first.
Yeah.
First have I have no respect for that passage and how they approach that situation
Yeah.
at all. Because that's what I did. And you don't mess with anyone.
Yeah.
When we send our kids to school, especially when we send them to an HBCU,
Yeah.
we are sending them somewhere where we feel they are safe. They
Yeah.
will be taken care of. They will be looked after. I know going to an HBCU, you don't just have a professor. You don't just have an advisor. You have a second mom. You have aunties
True.
that go. All of our organizations, I'm a member of Delta State Incorporated.
Mm.
Everything is a family. Everything is about staying together, sticking together, protecting one another, and
Yes.
making sure that we all
Yes.
and to know that they invaded or they threatened to invade space that we hold sacred
Yeah.
over someone, I'll be the first to say, I did not know who this man was or he died.
Yeah.
So to invade our space over someone that we did not know and to come after our children,
Yeah.
that doesn't sit well with me. And
Yeah.
I hold no one in high regard that thinks that was okay.
It's really sad. I was about to ask you, did you see it's so sad, the news today about the young man, DeAndre. I don't want to say his name incorrectly, but he was found hanging.
And they have already ruled that as he did that himself.
Oh my God.
However, this young man had two broken legs.
Hold on. I'm gonna get
And
his because I don't want it to be I want to honor him. You understand?
reverse that.
I want
We
to
have to look to the death that
Yeah.
thing. Before it has really hit the scene, they have already decided what
Yeah.
was the cause of this man's death. It's
In
absolutely
Mississippi, no less.
nonsense how
In
you can do
Mississippi,
that to
no less.
yourself
Yeah.
with, yes, with two broken legs. But this is the society that we live in that we have to continue to smile and grin. And because I don't have to work for any corporation that determines my livelihood, this is exactly why I speak out and say,
Yeah.
I'm calling this one. I'm
Yeah.
calling this one. All of the people who have to go to work and listen to
Oh,
a falsehood about this young man and
yeah.
hold it together as they think about their own children that could have been life.
Yeah. I have two. Are you kidding, Tamara? I have two children in college. I have two children in college, and they're not at HBCUs. And and right before my children went into school, there's this overpass, there's this bridge right by the dorm that my daughter used to live in, one of them, and the other one was moving into. Placated on along the wall, they had NIGGER in red. And my children, of course, had anxiety to go back to school. And so,
A lot of conversations literally with people who say that
what,
racism is not an
what world are we living in? And I want to say that we thought things were getting better in the 80s and 90s because we were really thriving and this and that. But I'm like, maybe it's because we didn't have internet to see it. What do you think?
mistake. Mistake we are, I think we have become less concerned with color. And I have spoken to one too many people of color, non-white,
Mm-hmm.
that have given up on voting and believing that their voice matters. And in doing so, they are failing her. Because as you can see right now, we are under an administration that has empowered racist, misogynist, just mean, evil heart people to not even feel, to not even feel the need to hide.
Yeah.
He has allowed them to come out of the wood,
Yeah.
to say what they want to say. He has allowed them to walk in their power and authority.
Yeah.
And yet
I'm sorry.
we have been taken back in birth.
Yeah.
We have allowed this to happen by believing that our vote didn't matter, by not showing up to local elect, by not understanding that judges, the selection of judges is political.
You
The
know what though,
selection of
Tamara?
paper.
It's been argued lately that this election could have been rigged. So by that, I don't like to speak on things that I don't have definitive proof on. But if that is the case, then the votes didn't matter.
We know
Because it
that
was Chicago. VP Harris was ahead of the polls.
we know that states were getting phone calls. We know that leaders of different states were getting phone calls and they were being harassed and they were being pretty much certain on how these votes go. We know that these things. We know that there was some issues with ballots and things like that because uh, the leaders that we're under right now, that's never going to be investigated. That's never going to be looked at because when the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the branch of the judicial system are all under one particular party,
Yeah.
there's really not much that's going to be done to disprevent.
We're still waiting on those Epstein files.
I am not going to hold my breath. And I'm waiting for something that
It's not gonna matter.
I
It does not matter. None of that matters. You know why? You know why? Because the same way as a candidate, he got shot in the ear. Next day, the ear grew back miraculously, letting you know that he's the Lord and Savior. And the same way that even his handwriting is, you're still gaslit, it's not his, in connection to the Epstein files. The same way that, yeah, nothing they do is investigated. Nothing they do and all the things that they're doing that are clearly non-constitutional, unconstitutional.
it will not.
It's
It
a
will not be investigated.
no. And and media is definitely legacy media. That's why a lot of people, I'm so relieved to be able to tap into the Don Lemons and the Joy Reads on independent spaces because I've never been a news person anyway, always been a critical thinker. But at this point, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I'm a big fan of Rosemart when it comes to getting a lot of political information.
Yeah. Him sometimes. Sometimes we're okay. Sometimes he get on my nerves. I have to be
I
honest.
think I like him because he does not lose he doesn't get pride. Sometimes people just say, "Oh, I don't feel like talking. I don't feel like dealing with it." Not
Yeah.
one day does he wake up and he gives up the fight.
Yeah.
And we all had that every day. We woke up knowing we got to give it 100%. We cannot get tired. We cannot get weary.
Yeah.
We have to stay on. And I value people dedicate their life day in and day out to making sure
You're
that
absolutely
we are
right.
in fullness,
You're
trying
absolutely
to get it together.
Yeah.
But what when when we're talking about all of these things that are never going to come to light, don't worry about them as much. What I worry about is the third term. And what do we do to make sure there's not a third term?
What do
Because
you
we know
think?
that's in the making now.
You think he's gonna
2025,
survive? Come on
I
now.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I know he's a devil
I
in
don't
everything.
know. There's a lot of things that I sat here and watched unfold, and I said, "Oh my God."
I'm telling you right now, I know Haiti is not doing too well, but there are some places in Haiti that are still very calm and very beautiful, and you can move there with me, okay?
There's nothing we have to look into.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the heck out of Dodge.
Abroad. Yeah, I think a lot of Black families are considering. There's a lot of companies that are coming up now that are teaching Black how to find work, how to keep their
Remotely.
skills, and be successful expat, as they call them.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who've
in
become
the world.
expats. Yeah, I'm starting to get jealous at this point. There are people who just, they did it. They're out of here. And I'm like,
I learned of through LinkedIn. I learned of the Exodus Fund. That's another big one that is empowering and speaking on and teaching people how to take the family and uproot and root to other countries.
yeah,
I have in-laws and my mother here, and there's a lot.
yeah,
Different.
that's what's held me. That's what held me because I'm like, but all my family's here.
My family here.
Yeah. all my family's here and my children, okay, they're in college, but which means they can go back and forth. But the way things are right now, can you? I'm.
The fact that a lot of us have come to that conclusion that is an option,
It's an
says
option,
a
but
lot.
yeah, but I don't want
It,
to leave my children.
yeah, we are all starting to think of how can we do this. And because, yeah, family is an issue because my mother, I don't know that she wants to uproot like that, set
Mhm.
in her ways. And we have to consider those things. But also, do I want to leave her here?
Yeah.
Do
Like, I
I
knew my mom
first
would not
that there's
move. My
place
mom
for
was
her?
not trying to move. Unfortunately, she's transitioned. She's marched on, gave me her
Watching
marching
them.
papers, and my dad as well. I was talking about that recently, how I finally feel like an adult. If they're still here, yes, the roles switch when they become your babies now, but
Absolutely.
you still feel like their baby. So that it's a little harder when you have older parents who are not willing to move. We get
Yeah.
that, but it's an option. It's an option, certainly an option. And I would love to see your business go global. Yeah, I would love to see your business go global and just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. Aside from, and are you writing, or would you like to do your own podcast, or are you amplifying this LinkedIn your main space to amplify these injustices, or how do you wish to get your mission and your message out there?
LinkedIn has been really my platform that I have been vocal in get this on. I can't say probably doing a podcast because doing so much that would be like another thing to me.
You'll find the
But
time.
I would if I had to. But right now, yeah, LinkedIn is my, of course, my favorite things and things like that. I don't hold back when I am expressing how I feel.
One,
But I feel like when I really took the things off and said, I gotta say what I gotta say.
mhm.
Found my people,
Yes,
found my people.
yes,
And I like the connect that I am making on LinkedIn. I'm gonna go across so many people who are in this fight as well and understand, and they're in different parts of it. Some are teaching us how to navigate emotionally and how to navigate mentally. Some are teaching us how to think out more, how to document the
mhm,
legal end of it. What are your options? We all have these different lanes that we come together
yes,
and network on. I'm big on networking because when
yes,
someone comes to me in my inbox and says, "Hey, this is what I'm going through," if I don't have all of the answers and the resources, I like to be able to pull from my network and say, "This is the
yes,
person I think you could get in contact with. This is the
yes,
person I think you should follow. This person can seamlessly get it on X, Y, and Z."
yes,
So that networking has been so liberating for women who constantly are and not just Black women. We have some allies in Hispanic and white women as well
that's right.
who are having a hard time thinking out and dealing with it and showing up to
Right.
work every day.
Yeah.
They're carrying that weight as well. And they are letting you know it's horrible. These times that we're living in is horrible. And I don't know what to do. So when people come to me and when people pour their hearts out or they are just exhausted and in their rope, I like having a network that I can say, here's my here's my but these people have these things to tell them as well. We have to support the entire person.
Yeah.
Because you can say, go in there, say what you have to say and do what you have to do. You have to experience that. Not they have to wonder how is this going to affect my life and my family and my life.
Yeah. And you have to
So
be very careful too, because you can only empower someone, or you can coach them, or you can give them advice. But even at the same time, even as a coach, you need to be careful because
you
it
have
can
to
be a
be mindful.
liability for you. Like, you're not prepared to pay their bills. What happened when
Exactly.
you go to HR?
When we talk about I can't take it anymore, before we always say before you go to HR, you need to have an exit plan. You need to have a solid exit plan.
Mhm.
Because once you get HR, there is a clock that begins to tick.
Yes,
and
talk
it's
about
not
it.
in favor.
Talk about it.
Unfortunately, it is not in your favor.
Tell them
So when
HR is not your friend.
absolutely, HR is not there with you. That's different, but they're there to protect the company.
That's right.
So you have to, before you go to HR, and I learned to do it, you need to have an exit way first. You talk to them, and you don't know where your next dollar. I don't know if that means you have money saved. I don't know if that means
Yeah.
you have already landed the job. You are ready to
Tamara,
go.
Tamara,
So
even before that, the plan includes your documenting specific occurrences and what
because HR
occurred.
does not care about
But
your
you
feelings.
need to have dates, times, circumstances for the context, who were there, what was involved, what was the conversation like. It is amazing, but you need to have a substantial, at least 3 months of you documenting, and you don't go in there emotional.
They don't care about your feelings.
That's what your therapist is for. And
They do not.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
a lot of women, a lot of Black women, a lot of women of color, Latina women, or Asian women, they are not taking care of their mental health. They're just absorbing. They're absorbing. And it's piling on, and burnout, and not being seen, not being valued, being underappreciated or undermined. And then the microaggressions on top of that. And
That's
then
part
the
of it.
epigenetics of the trauma that we come with. Just to
Mhm.
be here, standing, sentient, showing up in and of itself is an accomplishment. But then we have to navigate all these other hurdles on the job that further exacerbate the pain, the hurt, the the malady in our bodies. And I talk about the healing body all the time because I am at this point, I say, listen, I'm in my 40s, Tamara. I am
Wow.
in soft girl era the way I can get it.
Mhm.
And I know my soft girl era is going to be different from the other groups because, like you said, even in a relationship, a stable relationship where we want to hold that man down, we're the breadwinners.
Yep.
We need to not be delusional about the men that are available to us. At the same time, though, however way I can get my soft girl era, if that's not worrying about that crap, if it's turning off the television and not watching the news, if it's making sure my kids are okay and feel loved and secure and eat great food and we go out and we just focus on our little communities and see where we could circulate our dollars and do our little road trips and our vacations, and oh my God, I am finding all the nuggets of pleasure that I can because I don't want to just survive. I deserve to thrive. And that's why I'm Empress Addi. I'm giving everybody permission to be an empress.
Yeah. Yeah. You talk about it's not just work. When you think about just healthcare, when you want to find a doctor, you want a doctor that you can relate, that understands things like that. Corporate.
That's
Yeah.
another
There's
conversation.
a black doctor. There's a black dermatologist and PCPs and these things are, we have to deal with these issues every day. We
Tamara,
have to
that's another
find where we
conversation.
fit in every day.
Oh my God. I Yeah, honey, we will have a conversation because I was so excited to find a black doctor for my daughters because they're young ladies. And she had the most horrific experience with a black woman doctor.
Wow. That's
And
even worse.
tell me about it. She almost killed my daughter. I was in an emergency room with my daughter. That's another conversation. And I'm gonna tell you what's another conversation. Being on the job, you happy that you finally got a black supervisor. She worse than them. That's another conversation. I think in our community, we need a lot of healing. We need to
Great.
we
We
need
need
to
grace amongst
we
each
need
other.
we need grace, but we need a lot of healing. We need to learn to love ourselves because there are a lot of Black people who are racist too. They're white supremacists. They look just like you and I, but they're white supremacists.
Yeah.
And it's so sad.
We have been taught that the standard or you have negative when you have the same with white people.
Yeah.
We have not established our own standard for ourselves. What does success
What does success look like? And the biggest mistakes we can make there is using their metric to measure our success. Any Black person for me, and of course I'm biased. So in that space, I'm going to be prejudiced because I know the history and I've lived it and I've seen it and it's in our DNA. A Black man gets up and he's trying his best to, I don't care. I don't care if he's at Burger King. That's success. Yeah, I'm not in his financial bracket, but he's successful. You understand?
you have to start defining what success
We have to
is.
redefine what that is for us. We need to give and offer each other grace. We need to offer each other respect and love ourselves. And it begins with ourselves. It really does. It really does. It begins with a reimagining, a re-education of who we are. Because they did us a great disservice of keeping us in a servitude and a subordinate space for so long.
The divide and conquer tactic is
Yeah.
like one of the oldest tactics
Really,
that
Lynn.
has been to divide us.
Yeah.
We always knew the house slave and the field slave. We knew there was a slave who was the overseer over the rest of the slaves. And those created mentalities that have stayed with us.
Yeah. And you had the
And
mulattoes, the very light-skinned ones who became the very
exactly,
elite of black scholarly society. And then they began
exactly.
and they wanted to be as close to white as possible. And they developed these Jack and Jill associations and this. And then if you're an AKA, I'm sorry for you with the brown paper bag test. And oh, can we stop it?
Yeah, but these are things that have been ingrained. This is
The
something
colorism, the hair, the this, the that. We need to
it's
stop
been
it.
ingrained. It was by design.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it succeeded. And we are going to have to be cognizant enough to undo it, undo centuries
Yeah.
of work that was done to us.
Yeah.
We have forgotten that when we came over here, we didn't know one another. We were separated immediately. Our
Yeah.
strength was taken from us. Our strength was in our fingers and in our progress.
Yeah.
And the first thing they did is separate. And after that, then they created class.
Yeah.
You're better because you do this.
Yeah.
You're not because you own it.
But we
So
only
with
get
those
that.
two things happening,
Yeah. We
you
only
know,
don't,
it's
but here,
okay.
I'm sorry, Tamara, but we only discuss the high level overview of the atrocities of slavery. It was more than that. It was sleeping with your wife in front of you, sodomizing your husband in front of you, forcing your son to breed you, cutting babies out of your belly, making you eat feces, putting you to stand in ant piles, hanging you upside down, having you split between two opposite racing horses. We need to talk about the atrocities. Having you sleep in the pit for 7 days of feces. Okay? We always skirt over it and we brush over it And I don't mean to go there, but if we're going to talk about slavery, I'm going to talk about everything.
Yeah.
Because people don't understand, how is it 400 years later, a young man my daughter's age is strange fruit, and we're okay with that. But you could put the mast at half staff, the flag at half.
For someone who's not even opposing.
Where's the outrage? Where's the outrage for the kids who were injured in that and at that Colorado school that same day? So you guys are pro-life, but you don't really care about life. You just want people to have the kids so that you can kill them. This is
our history. And
I'm
this
sorry,
is
I
a
need a
history
drink.
that they don't want to talk about. This
Oh,
is a history that has been so deeply ingrained within our country that they believe has been disappeared, and it has not. It is not. There are plenty of people who they are still raised under these same rates. They're
I need this drink.
from lineage on down. They're still holding on to these principles of this is how Black people treat, and Black people are being thankful that they're not being done the way we used to. Even the poorest of white people still see themselves as superior. Mother, we can have all the degrees in the world, and it can be a white person that barely has a roof over their head, and in their mind, we are so inferior.
I'm not inferior to anybody.
It's just been ingrained. It's been so deeply ingrained in this country, and we're not doing enough to clear it up because we continuously want to have conversations and come to a middle ground with races, and it's just no. There are no, and there's but people on both sides.
Yeah.
No, that's a foul. And actually, that's true.
I am my
And
daughter.
why are we trying to reason with the race?
I am my father's daughter, and I have the blood of revolutionaries in me. Dear, I've never felt less than. I've never felt it. And it is by the grace of God in all things holy that I have love in my heart for everyone still. And it is my wisdom and knowledge that allows me to render grace and not go in on some real stats and statistics and science. The sun is not trying to kill me every day.
I don't hold back. I do not hold back that I know who I am. I know who I am. I know where I come from. I know what I'm made up of. I know my DNA is something powerful.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
There's a reason why we came over here because we were strong.
That's
Because
right.
we were agile.
Did you know that they're selling? Did you know that they're harvesting melanin and it's more valuable than gold now?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
So,
Like everything about us, but I'm not surprised.
but I'm not going to generalize because it's not everybody.
Absolutely.
But I also feel like your silence is complicity, not letting you off the hook there. Because, like I said, I've thought about this lots of times in different scenarios. And had it been the other way around, I would have been the same person. I would have been speaking up as our allies do now, because we have allies who are amplifying this craziness, right? And I make no apologies for it, for who we are. Now, it's amazing how we can't discuss women in the workplace without talking about all the seeds that are that causes that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was relevant. We didn't really go off on a tangent, did we, Tamara?
No, because it all comes together.
It
It
comes
all,
together.
this is not a one one thing will do.
Yeah.
We have a lot of work.
There's a reason why. And we're only skimming the surface.
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah.
studies to be done. Like I said, I'd love to see a new Black census done. I'd love to see us create, I don't know. I think Black people in itself needs a nation. Okay. That's one thing that keeps us from being respected because we're just Black. We need a nationality. And if we're not American and we're not African, what are we? I'm Haitian and I'm African. I do still claim my heritage, my lineage based on my DNA. But what would you like to see for the Black woman in the workplace, Tamara? What would you like to see?
For the Black women in the workplace, I think we deserve, and what I would like is being to really be appreciated for what we have contributed to, to growth. We we talk about the Black place now, but in the workplace period, we talk about the workplace now, but in the workplace over years, over centuries, Black women have kept things afloat. Whether we were working in fields, whether we were working as maids, whether we were working as assistants, whatever, we have always taken our job seriously and produced stellar outcomes.
Above and beyond. And we can't
Um,
even stop. Even when we said every time, you know how, okay, you've been there. I'm like, man, I hate this job. I ain't gonna do shit. Yeah.
you're going to give everything.
You can't
You
not
don't
do
know
your
how not
best.
to. We do not know not how not to.
We don't know how
You
not
know,
to.
my great grandmother was amazing. She had 6 daughters, and she left her home every day to
Mhm.
take care of someone else's children.
Mm.
Not only did she teach her girls how to run their home while she was with them, but I
Mhm.
mean, taught them how to cook, how to sing, how to take care of each other, how to do hair, how to wash clothes, the yard. She taught her daughters how to do all of that.
Oh my
And
God.
then she went to someone else's house, a white person's house, and bring wine, upstanding white men.
Wow.
So we don't know how to just be mediocre. She loved those boys as she loved their own. She
Wow.
taught them with the same values that
That
she
she
went
on
to.
her own.
I I don't know that we know how to just, it's okay. It's just not in our DNA.
I
We
got
take pride in our work, one, because it's our work. And I just say that as myself. It's certain things that I won't do and put my name on because my name is, and I don't want to get anything that's halfway done or sloppy or not done with integrity. I don't want anything to do. Absolutely not. We have that own his pride within us. No one has to make us have that.
right.
We have our own standards for how we feel about the work that we put out, the reputation that we set, precedent. No one has to make us do that and entertain it and
This is
move
this is
forward.
me trying not to cry. Yeah.
Any sort of work, we come with 150%, 200, because we know what's going to stand on our shoulders afterwards. And we know the shoulders that do that.
And we do it for our ancestors, we do it for our children.
Exactly. Exactly. I know who opened the door for me. I know what my mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother did so that I could be here. I
Yeah.
know I'm standing on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And I know my baby's got to stand on mine.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep this going. We're going to keep this going
The best.
hardest, the most, just like greatest way we can.
Yep.
But it's not even about impressing anyone.
No.
This is about our legacy.
Yep. Like my mom
This
worked
is
too
our
hard.
yeah.
My mom worked too. My
It's
parents
not
worked
indicting our
too hard
for them to think it was in that.
for me to come and squander my time here.
Exactly. Exactly. I
So
remember my mother taking classes so
yeah,
that she could get promotions at work. I
yeah,
remember being in high school
yeah,
while my mother was finishing up college course.
yeah,
And I remember, it's so funny, but one of the stories is he had to take a spin. And the way my entire household immersed ourselves in spin
yeah,
so that my mom could pass that class
yeah.
was definitely what
Amazing.
we are.
Yeah.
We were going to get her across that picture.
That's what's up.
Her name, her Spanish name was Lucita. And to this day, when we are
Oh.
playing and dancing, we say, hey, Lucita, because
Woo. Ciao.
that into it.
Yeah.
So they open doors for us. So when we do, this is not just about an operate. This is our legacy.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
Quick story. My mom, when she came to the States, she didn't speak English, but she had finished college in Haiti as a teacher.
Um,
Yeah. So long line of educators. And so because she didn't speak English and she knew that would be a huge learning curve, she went into nursing instead. She had friends telling her, go into nursing. So by the time she's in nursing school, she finishes nursing school, she's in clinicals. And this is how she found out she was pregnant with my younger brother because she's in clinicals and they put her in a nursing home and she began throwing up and couldn't stop. And my father was like, okay, you're never going back. Forget that. She's like, I guess I don't have the stomach for it. And turns out she was pregnant. She ended up working factory work. And that's how she clothed us because she was making clothes for Burdines. That was a Miami, like a Macy's, because Macy's did eventually buy them out. And Casual Corner, Black and White, and all that. So I had cute outfits, but my mom was making it because she worked at that factory and they would let them take home patterns. And that's that's how my mom clothed us. And then my mom said, I really want to do something else. I'm tired of being in a factory all day. And she started taking night school and she went to a business class to learn how to type. So my sister and I, we would go with her to encourage her, and it was just the best time. And when you started talking about your mom and your grandmother, I just couldn't hold it back.
That's who we are.
All we see is
That's
our
who we
parents
are.
doing their best. That's all
We're
we
overcoming.
That's all we see. And who why would anybody want to come against that? That's why I asked you, what would you like to
Right.
see? When you think of women in the workplace, I'm not even going to say Black women anymore. When you think of women in the workplace, what would you like to see? Because they're not taking into account our own mental stress and what we overcome just to even show up.
Yeah. Yeah. We deserve, we deserve visibility and we deserve to be honored and
Yeah.
we have to submit a lot. And we don't just go to work and our day is over.
No,
That's not the life of a woman.
no.
And
Got
we're creating
babies.
dinner.
You got
We're
husbands. You got no.
whole sick. Or just last week, my daughter was she was sick. And there, it's not just we do our work and that's it. We are, we can I always say we can hear our babies in our,
Yes, we can. Yeah, I know when my
you
kids
know,
are not doing that well, I just call them and say, hey, what's up? I miss you, sweetheart. How you doing, beautiful? Talk to me. It's just, Mom, you would never guess what happened today. Oh, yeah.
I know.
So I'm
And it, when it's
every breath, with every breath, we're praying for them because
It's like that for any trial, though.
Yeah.
When we go to the store and someone says, "Look, our mother is activated in the store."
Yeah.
That was the thing that about George Floyd when he died that got to me the most was you broke every woman's heart when we heard this grown man cry for his mother. That was traumatizing to all of us.
In 9 minutes?
His dead mother.
I know. But 9
He broke.
minutes? But 9 minutes?
That
So
that changed all of us.
so
I don't care what
yeah,
we play on.
yeah,
It activated something in us that
all of us.
we have not turned off yet.
Yeah.
It traumatized us and it sticks with us, and we can hear that when someone cries, "Mom," and we couldn't come in.
Yeah.
Hey,
You
because
can
if
be
I'm on the
anywhere.
playground with my kids
Yeah.
and someone else's child cries, I'm getting up for
Yeah.
that child. I don't care what color
I'll be like,
happening.
"Oh, yeah." I was just gonna say, have you ever been in a store? You hear a little kid, it doesn't matter what color. You hear a kid says mommy or mama,
After that,
everybody's activated. If you're activated. And I've come up to babies just throwing a tantrum on the floor. That's not my child. Don't know him from Adam. I come and say, "What's up, baby?"
it's just in our DNA.
Yeah,
So when you go to work and you feel
we're
you are
nurturing there
ready to
too.
feel,
We don't even know how to separate. We do too much. We do too much.
we come in when our female coworkers are going through it, we're right there.
We're
And
there.
that is one thing I can say that is hard about when Black women are the only ones in their work environment. They don't have anyone who comes to them and says, "Hey, girl, you okay? Let's go to the bathroom. Let's go to the break room."
Yeah,
Someone who can just see that
yeah,
something is off, something's not okay this morning.
yeah.
We don't have that. So we hold that in all day. 8 hours is a long time for uncertainty and sadness and just being not quite self that day.
You need to go watch a couple episodes ago where I gave the whole story about that. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's a long time.
Oh
We
my
need that.
goodness.
We need that. And sometimes I think we're not human and we don't need those things.
No,
You know,
and I'll tell you what it is. It's really simple. It's simple to me. The problem is that, damn, it's hard to say. We're not human to a lot of people.
think we were human when they experimented on our bodies and cut us up without anesthesia.
We're not human to a lot of people. Yeah.
It's
People could
written in
give a
books that
damn.
they can take this pain and they can work. They're able to endure this. They really thought that we were
Yeah.
not human.
We're
That's the part of our
struggling.
belly is not to tell that we're fine. They
Right.
didn't
Right.
don't fill them up. But no,
Health justice
it's
is a whole,
documented.
you know what? I'm gonna invite you
It's,
again because we could
it's
talk about this all
documented.
night. That you now you're going into health justice and access. Now you know. We know about Henrietta Lacks. Like, that's a whole 2 more hours.
That's,
Oh my God. Tamara,
that's still we rise. Still we rise.
still we rise. Still we rise.
Still we rise.
And we walk like we got diamonds in our backyard. Tell
I
you,
always say I'm like a big deal.
I'm
And I
a
keep that
kid.
in my head all the time, and I tell myself that all the time. Because I'm like a big deal.
You better add your title because I am Empress Addi.
Exactly. If we weren't a big deal, we wouldn't be getting the stuff we're getting.
I mean,
They wouldn't work so hard to try to
not at all.
eliminate us.
My mom used to say, we Caribbean, they don't throw rocks at mangoes that are already on the floor.
Exactly.
They throw rocks at the highest mangoes or the highest avocados. And what Bob Marley says, a foolish dog that barks at the flying bird because we are eagles. Does the ego look back and
We
worry
don't
about the crow?
exactly,
No.
exactly. We soar so much higher.
He gonna soar
Mm,
boldly. Take it or leave it or kiss my ass.
yes, we have to keep that
For
mindset. We
real.
gotta keep that
And it's really
momentum
too,
going.
we have to continuously empower ourselves,
Mhm.
and affirm each other and
Yeah,
support one another. And I love what you're doing. And we could talk about this all night, but it would be better if you were here and I had cooked dinner and we were having a glass of wine. But I'm gonna let you go because, like I said, we could do this all night. Do you
yeah.
have any
Yeah.
last things? I want you to use this platform, share where people can find you. I'm still going to put everything in the description. Make sure you check out the description to find Tamera Rowls. But I just wanted to give you the
Absolutely.
space to, yeah, I want to give you the space before I say goodbye or my outro. I want to let you share a final thought and how people can find you.
Alrighty. I want to say, if I could, that we're living in some uncertain times, but all hope is not lost. And as long as we learn how to support and love and give grace to one another, I think the outcome is going to be in our favor. We come from a lineage that fought and won, and they have instilled in us values that we can't forget. Okay, we just didn't forget. And I'm going to continue to champion for women, Black women in our workspace. You can always reach out to me. And if you don't have a way of letting your thoughts and your feelings be heard, I even have a segment on my page where I say, it's my, and that's where I give anonymous of women who have shared their experiences. I'm going to continue to make sure that the voice is heard.
Beautiful.
That's my job. God is placed back in me, and I'm going to do that until there's no more breath in my body.
Beautiful. You share all
Tamara
that
Rowls,
information. Share all
yes.
that information with me, and I'll put it in the description so that people can find you, Tamara.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh, and Tamara Rowls is important. You can find me at tamararowls.com. Like I said, I specifically work with small and minority owned businesses.
Mhm.
I'm the person that I needed when I needed started.
I
Now,
love
didn't
that.
have a great capital, who didn't have access to a lot of loans. I
Mhm.
make my services very affordable, and I make sure that you keep yourself out there to be the great business that you really are. Whatever business you work, you're off. Camerals.com, camerals@gmail.com. You can always find me on LinkedIn. I'm here.
Easy to find,
I'm
guys. I
and thank you so much
don't know.
for this opportunity.
Nobody makes me cry, and I don't cry anymore. So already, oh my God, what are you doing? So thank you so much for your courage and your clarity. To
Thank you
our
for having me.
listeners, your work is worthy of fair systems and honest measures. And I would encourage you to look deeper inside yourself and know that you got this and know that you can go forth and know that you don't need not be afraid. One job is one job. If you want to open and start be an entrepreneur, that's fine. A lot of us, we're working for others while we work on the things that we want to do, and that's completely fine too. But know that
Absolutely.
you come from greatness and you got this like no one else. So, yeah, so if this served you, if this resonated with you, please share it. And if your organization needs help designing equity with teeth, if you need help with loans and branding and all the things that Tamara mentioned, which I will be describing and listing out in the description for you, please reach out to her. You know who I am. You'll always see the links of my things. I have a book, Tamara. It's called What's Next for You?
Right.
Living Purpose. It's a book, it's a blueprint. All right. It's a practical guide to aligning your passion with prosperity. I think this is something that all people need, but I wrote it from my perspective and I'm very transparent about that. I felt like I was writing to my girls, my children, and all the other children that I've mothered. and I come from a big family, so I've been an auntie, I've been to so many young boys, but because I'm a girl mom, I particularly wanted them to understand and have a blueprint on
Yeah.
how to really uncover who they are, remembering who they are, and following their passion. Because it's only when we follow our passion are we in our purpose, and we can truly be successful if there is a way to measure that. You're going to reach out to Tamara and support her as she will continue to support you guys. You need somebody to maybe anonymously cuss that boss out. She's probably the one. And until next time, walk in dignity, rooted in love. I'm Empress Addi. I love you. I love you. I love you. And of course, like, subscribe, and share. Bye. Thank you, Tamara.
From my family.